Hey guys, it's me, Necrosen, and I'm gonna show you how to build the fastest autocrafter. Why build the fastest autocrafter when you can just make a bunch of average speed crafters? I didn't think to ask that before I made this, and now you get a video on it. First off, you're gonna need these materials. Just blocks to build with. These can all be the same block if you want them to be. I just like having the separation. A couple of slabs, droppers, chests, hoppers, sticky piston, observer, some repeaters, some redstone dust, a lever to turn it on and off, and then just temporary blocks. I don't think you actually need 64 of them, but like, you know, just a couple. Mild disclaimer, I'm not liable for miscounting the items here. This is a snapshot, and all the mods I use for counting items are killed. So first off, you want to take your temporary blocks and pillar up 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to create this kind of diamond-shaped 7x7 pattern like this. And punch out these center blocks. Next up, place droppers in an L shape on each of the ends, like so. Then go to this dropper, pillar up 2 more, drop down here, place a downward-facing dropper next to the top block, and now you can destroy all of these temporary blocks. Stand all the way underneath this downward-facing dropper. You can hold shift, press jump, and place a dropper underneath it. Then we're going to place a downward-facing crafter, another dropper, a hopper, and then a chest. Next up is this first redstone line. I recommend having a different color building block for each redstone line, but you don't have to. You can keep them all the same. So you're going to place a block here next to the hopper, then another one a step down. Then next to that on the ground, you're going to place 5 more. Come forward and place 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a temporary block. Add 1. Place another temporary block to the side. Add 2. Place another temporary block. Go up, and then we're going to make a staircase, alternating temporary blocks and building blocks until we get to this point where we're going to place 1 block here, 1 temporary block next to it, another block here, another temporary block, and another block here. So if we jump all the way down, it should look like this. Then you can jump up on here and break all of these temporary blocks. Once we've done that, we can add all of our redstone and repeaters. So come around like this, add a 1-tick repeater going in this way. Come up here from the staircase you've made, do an insane parkour jump. Or you can be like me and place a temporary block here for now. That'll just help you get up and down. Redstone dust all the way up along here. And then right here, you're going to place a 1-tick repeater. So it should look like this right now. Next, we're going to build the clock. Place a temporary block here. Place another one on top of it. Place a piece of white wool. Then 2 more temporary blocks. Break the first one and add a forward-facing sticky piston. Then you can break the block behind it. Next, you're going to add a building block next to the first temporary block you placed. Break both temporary blocks. Then add 6 more building blocks in a circle like this. I personally recommend that you replace these 2 building blocks with some other kind of building block. That will mark where the repeaters are going to be that you need to change whenever you want to turn this into a dispenser crafter. We're just going to place 4 repeaters on 1 tick, going around in a loop like this. These 2 on 2 ticks if you're planning on making this for dispensers. And then add redstone all around. Okay, so quick PSA, maybe something broke in an update, but apparently these 2 repeaters need to be set to 2 ticks regardless of what item you're making. So then you're going to come over here, place an observer facing this way, and 1 more building block. Now you can add any sort of switch here that you want. I like using levers, and this will turn the clock on. And you can flip it to turn it off. Now we're going to do the middle line. Come here under the clock, place 1 temporary block, and then a building block next to it, destroy the temporary block. Come back up around to where the building block is, and build out 2 more in this direction. Then place 1 block on either side coming forward. Going to place 1 temporary block and then a building block above, and then come out to the side here, 2 blocks. Build across, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then another temporary block and a building block on top of it. You can put redstone dust all along here. Add 1 dust on top of this block, and then a 1-tick repeater facing into it. Then we're going to come around the other side, 2 blocks. Come out 2 blocks here, 1, 2. add a temporary block, building block on top, come out 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 2, 1, 2, another temporary block, and a building block. Then you can add your redstone line, coming back around here as well, on this block here, add a repeater on 1 tick, facing out that way, and 2 more pieces of redstone. Then you want to come around to each of these raised blocks and place another solid block on top of the redstone. 4 times, just like that. For the final line, you're going to come to this part of the clock here, place a temporary block, and then a building block, go out forward 2 more blocks, place a top slab, then 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks until you're directly above this blue block. 1, add another slab, and finally 1 more building block. Then you're going to come back here, go 1 out, and start bridging this way. 1, 2, 3, half slab, 1, 2, turn the corner, 1, 2, 3, and stop. Then you just need to come to each of these 3 center hoppers and place 1 solid block on each of them. And finally, we can place our redstone dust, 1 on this hopper, then around the bridge. Add the redstone dust on this dropper as well. Place a 1-tick repeater facing this way and another one facing this way. Then the 2 redstone dust here to connect back to the clock. And redstone, redstone, 1 on the dropper. And then finish out on this bridge. And that is the last line done. So now you can hook up your chests. You'll want to put a hopper on each of the sides of these droppers that have redstone on top of them. And then a hopper on each of the droppers that don't have redstone on them. And if you want to, you can make them all level, like this. And add chests on top. And then you can either feed these chests from your storage, or you can kind of creatively turn them into double chests like this. Then add 1 hopper here, and you can add your last chest or double chest. Now, if you're not planning on making dispensers, you're pretty much done here. All you have to do is set it up. You can set your blocks in any order. So let's say I'm making a piston. I can put cobblestone in this chest, cobblestone in this chest, in here, and in here. And I can do 2 chests of oak planks, 3 chests rather, a chest of iron, and a chest of redstone dust. And the last thing you'll need to do here is come down to one of these solid blocks, break it so you can get to the center dropper, and you'll want to put 1 of whatever block is above it inside there. You can put more if you want, but 1 should do it. And then just replace the solid block in there. So if we come down here to the bottom, we should see these dispensers filling with the items we added on the outside. So there's some wood, iron, and then we just need to break this bottom dropper here so we can get to the crafter, and we'll have to prime the crafter with 3 pistons. So put enough items into the crafter so you could potentially craft 3 pistons like this, and replace this dropper. Oh, and I almost forgot, but obviously you can break all of these temporary blocks as well. Now let's flip it on. And there we go, look at that. We are crafting pistons at 0.6 seconds per craft. Now, as promised, if all you ever want to do with your life is make dispensers, which is completely understandable, then here's how you're going to do that. First, you need to empty all of these droppers, make sure they are all completely clean. You got to do this anytime you want to change out what item you're crafting, including these centered ones. Obviously, go into your crafter and switch it out for a dispenser. Again, prime it with 3 of each item, but this time stick 1 bow in the center and cover it back up with a dropper. Come back around here and replace the item in here with a bow. Put the block back. Empty out this dropper. Make sure this hopper and chest are empty. And now we can start loading it up for a dispenser craft. So dispensers require 1 redstone dust and 7 cobblestone. So add that to all of your chests. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you could fill this chest here with bows. You could do that. Or you could build the quick bow maker I'm about to show you. You'll need these items, and once again, I am not liable for miscounts. So first thing, you're going to break this center chest here, and then you're going to add 2 slabs coming out from the center hopper, perpendicular to this line you have coming up here. Add redstone to it. Place 1 building block here, redstone, another building block on the side, and then slab, and 2 redstone. Then you want a temporary block. You're going to place 7 building blocks in a circle around, starting from that temporary block. Place a temporary block on top of the first one, add 3 more temporary blocks, break the second to last one, place a forward-facing sticky piston, and then you can either leave this temporary block or replace it with any other solid block, and you're going to just break all the other temporary blocks. Then we're going to have a repeater coming out from this hole here, set to 2 ticks, 1, 2 ticks, and 1. And then add redstone dust all the way around. And finally, to finish the clock again, add this observer coming out of that block, and another solid block next to it. Next, you want to come out from this clock, 3 slabs, 1, 2, 3. Then add a temporary block on the end, and come out 2 more, 1, 2. And add 3 slabs going around, 1, 2, 3. And then finally a building block. And what you're going to do on these temporary blocks is you want to place a normal piston, not a sticky piston, but a normal one, and then an observer coming this way, and you can go ahead and break those temporary blocks. Place redstone dust coming along this way, and right here, and then place a 2-tick repeater going into this piston. Now you want to delicately place droppers next to this block here, going into the center, and likewise over here, so that they're all facing into each other. And this is where we're going to eventually put our crafter. Now we just need hoppers going into the side and from above each of these droppers. Place another hopper to level this all out. And finally, you need a double chest on each of these hopper lines. Now, this design is incredibly compact because it only makes one type of item as fast as possible, which is a bow, and possibly a bunch of other, like maybe 2 or 4 crafting recipe items, that kind of thing. So if you want a generic crafter that can do any item incredibly quickly, you still need this design down here. So now all we have to do is come down here, add our downward facing crafter. We'll want to prime it with 3 bows, which looks like this, and make sure you click to disable these empty slots. And then the last thing you'll need to do is place a dropper facing downward into this hopper. And then to load it, you just need to make sure you put the same items in opposite chests. So for example, these 2 here, I'm going to fill with sticks, opposites, very important. And then these 2 opposites, I'm going to fill with string. And we should be good to go. And that is our fast bow maker. And just to prove that it works, we can try turning it on. And we come down here to this dropper and see that it is indeed making bows. And at least as fast as the machine below it would do it. And we actually quickly get to a point where we're overflowing bows. Oh my gosh. Stop it! Stop the machine! Jeez. They're everywhere. So now when you want to actually hook these 2 things up, I do recommend putting a couple of bows in this dropper as well. And then you can connect these 2 systems with a really simple redstone line. Alright, let's see her in action. Flip. And look at that. Infinite dispensers, just like that. This was so much better than just crafting them by hand. Right? Right?